My name is Neseret. I am a mental health coach. I also have 17 years as a psychiatric RN. I also have an individual journey through the mental health system as a service user. And that started when I was 30 years old. I had undiagnosed, untreated hypothyroid symptoms, which usually mimic psychiatric symptoms. As well, I had just worked for 4 years in a locked unit and an acute care unit, taking care of people sort of at the height of their illness. And previous to that, I've had significant childhood trauma just from my background, where I came from. And so there was all of those things combined, and I went to see a doctor, and they prescribed me medication for hypothyroid, but they also at the same time suggested that I take an antidepressant. And then within a couple of weeks, I became hypomanic. And that was the first time I had experienced hypomania. And I attempted to taper off of the antidepressant and soon realized, even though I had been on it only for a short time, I experienced antidepressant withdrawal, like headache, sensitivity to light, insomnia. And so I reinstated the medication and tapered off very slowly. But then that fall, I had my first suicidal depression, and I had never considered suicide before in my life. It just was never on my radar. And I was also at the time diagnosed with antidepressant-induced bipolar disorder. In a 13-year period, I was trialed on 10 different medications. Finally, quote unquote, stabilized, psychiatrically stabilized on mirtazapine and lithium and a hypothyroid medication. And I was also on birth control pills. I look back now and I had a whole bunch of unwanted symptoms. Fatigue, I gained 20 pounds. I slept usually between 12 and 13 hours. I was tired. I had brain fog. I just felt like my overall functioning was actually worsening over time. And so I would always felt like, okay, I think this is going to be for the rest of my life. I'm stuck with this. I was in a very desperate place and searching for answers and trying to figure out like solutions for myself as well as for my clients. And that's how I started to research online and found the ketogenic community and started implementing metabolic therapies and the ketogenic diet. I read a couple of books, one by Dr. George Ede and also Dr. Palmer, and I came across Metabolic Mind and the Bipolar Cast channel on YouTube, and I started consuming all of those sort of information and started implementing the ketogenic diet. Prior to that, I had implemented a whole bunch of different things that now that I understand were metabolic therapies, such as sleep and movement and intermittent fasting. But once I started to implement the diet was when things really shifted for me, and I was able to start tapering off of medications. And I did so with multiple medications, and I was able to lose 20 pounds. My energy was back. I didn't need to sleep 12, 13 hours. And I was able to really just have mental clarity, which was like really important to me. That was one of the most kind of disturbing things. And the other piece was that the suicidal ideation was no longer there for me. For many, many years, I would say I was not able to focus on trauma work because I felt like I was just keeping my head above water. And then with the medications, usually people say, and again, personal experience, I felt numb. When you're in that mode, it's hard to do grief work or like trauma work. One thing I noticed right away when I went through the metabolic therapies and the keto diet is I had such a sharp mental clarity, but I was also completely in touch with my emotions. And the grief, it was sort of like the floodgates came up, like opened. I started working with a trauma therapist for the first time. And I was diagnosed with CPTSD, complex trauma. I would say that was one of the gifts of metabolic therapies and ketogenic diet. is it provided me a strong foundation to actually start addressing trauma. After implementing keto, I would say my life has completely changed in pretty much every respect. Just my own physical health, I'm at my ideal weight. I have so much energy. Since then, I've been able to start a business, a coaching business. I've been posting on YouTube and X consistently and growing an audience and serving people in that way. Being able to focus and being able to do something that's meaningful and helpful to people. I have been able to reconnect with my daughter and my partner. And when I say this, because when I was going through the challenges, it was hard to connect with people. Again, sort of like being able to really access your emotions. In work, as a psych nurse was a huge privilege, and I loved my work, but it was incredibly challenging to watch people not getting lasting results and only a temporary relief, and then having to contend with side effects of medications. So many people feel so out of control navigating the mental health system because everything is dependent on everyone else. And so now I feel like I actually have something of substance to offer. And I think the amazing thing about it is that you can empower people in a real way, in a way that they can take control of their lives and be able to implement simple strategies that they can do themselves. That is going to have a lasting impact on their overall health, not just their mental health, but physical health, spiritual health in every way. I don't think I would change the last 8-9 months, the last year, for anything, with my experience with keto and the types of people that I've met and the types of work. And it's a movement that's happening right now, which is incredible because it's also so needed in terms of the crisis in the world with mental health. I don't even remember feeling this way before medications, any time before, or even during medications. This is kind of like a new normal. And initially it was kind of hard to really believe this is actually happening. And because I have also associated as a psych nurse that bipolar disorder is for life and this is not going to go away, but then to have your health and wellness and your mental clarity better than you've ever experienced it before, it's incredible. Somebody asked me yesterday, have you ever witnessed a miracle? And I thought, yeah, I have actually. I have gone through it myself in the past couple of years through this process. And I do feel like it's amazing. Yeah.